Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is episode number 24, and I'm joined by two wonderful members of the crew. First and foremost, Nando. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? It's good to be back again. I missed, unfortunately, the last two of them, so I apologize for everyone for doing that, but I'm back. I'm excited again, as always, to be with you guys.
Yeah, man, we can't always do it. It's all good. And then we're joined by another guest. I think a fan favorite here, Steph. How you doing, Steph?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been absent for a little while. I had some personal business to attend, but I'm back again, and I missed doing the podcast.
Hey, man, we missed you, bro. We missed you. Before we get started onto the topics at hand, I just want to mention a special shout out to Rita Pasquale, also known as Majestic Coates on Twitter. She's officially a part of the Sporting160EN crew. If you noticed a quality improvement in our tweets, it's because she's also been helping us out with modalidades and basically all things Sporting. So shout out to her. She's not on the podcast yet, but we'll see if one day she comes on and yeah, talks our Sporting. Anyways, going on to the very first game of our segment. It was 0-0 against Arsenal in London, where it felt like we were back in Lisbon. I'll give you a rundown of our 11 really quick. We had Renan Ribeiro in net, Bruno Gaspar, Coates, Mathieu, and Acuna in defense. We had Goudelli, Bruno Fernandes, and the debutant Miguel Luis in midfield. On the wings, we had Nani and Diaby. As a striker, we had Montero. I'll go through the Arsenal 11 since they're more known as well. They had Petr Cech in goal, Carl Jenkinson, Rob Holding, Socrates, and Lichtsteiner in defense, Guendouzi, Ramsey, and Smith Rowe in midfield, with Iwobi and Mkhitaryan on the wings, and Danny Welbeck up front, who unfortunately suffered a really bad injury. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him, and hopefully everything's all right with him. But anyway, Steph, quickly throw it off to you. What did you think of the game? How did you see Sporting do?
Under the circumstances, I think Sporting, Tiago Fernandes did a great job setting up the team. We played against a team that they basically won against all Portuguese teams at their stadium, except for one team a long time ago. And to go to Arsenal and actually tie the game and get a point away was very, very sweet. And Tiago Fernandes he was just our temporary coach. We lost our head coach, which it was a good thing, losing Peseiro. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Tiago Fernandes did phenomenal setting up the team. We couldn't be expecting more from that team, especially when we basically didn't have the head coach anymore. So we did great. Offensively, we didn't play much, but the whole point was to get the tie and to get a point out of it, which we did. And to be fair and square, we couldn't expect more of our team. So now with the new coach, we'll see. But the game away at Arsenal, I think we did phenomenal defensively. Offensively, we didn't do much. But I'll take the tie and I'll take the 1 point.
Yeah, fair enough. And Nando, what about you, man?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We went in there with one objective at hand, and that was to not lose. I highly doubt that Tiago Fernandes at any point in that week informed the guys I'm not going to go out and say that he didn't try to get them and make them believe that we could get the win, but the realistic thing was, let's get in there, let's not lose, let's get a point, and if we can get a good counter in or something, maybe we can surprise like we did. When was it that historical performance against Manchester City all those years ago? So with that being said, they did well. They executed the plan properly. I think the coach mentioned it after the game that the players followed his game plan to perfection. I'm kind of looking at the lineup right now for that game. And defensive lineup at hand to start off the game. It is what it is. Montero, the lone striker up front. Possession statistics all go towards Arsenal. 71% possession for them, 29 for us. 5 shots for us, 14 for them. So we did what we needed to do. We bended, but we didn't break. And Thiago Fernandes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his approach to that game. It was a much more calculated approach. And there's not much to be said other than that's a good result against a good team, very good team in their stadium. And just a shout out to about 5,000 Sportingistas who were there in London. So that's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, 5,500 was around the mark. And one of those guys, our very own Sam Fonseca, was in attendance in the crowd. I was watching his Snapchats. Super jealous, and also Patrick, our other British member, was also there, but not with the Sporting fans. He was more in more eloquent box that fits him perfectly. Quickly, just to throw my 2 cents, I agree with both of you. I think Thiago Fernandes, he set us up to not lose the game, to at least get a point away from Arsenal and have us, with some breathing room in the group, especially seeing as Karabag ended up beating Vorskla. It gives us a lot more breathing room. But I think his thoughts were more if Vorskla wins, and then they're tied with us on points and the pressure's on. So at least try to nick a draw. And if one counterattack can work and we somehow get a goal, we can leave with 3 points. So fair play to him. But we'll get to him in a second. Steph, a quick question for you. How did you think Miguel Luis did on his debut, I guess, in the starting 11 and his European debut?
I think he did awesome. Let's keep things into perspective. And then to tell him, hey, you're going to start the game, I can only imagine how nervous he was, anxious.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as a young kid, his number one priority was not to make mistakes, which he didn't. He didn't complicate his life. He played simple, which I was expecting that from him. But I loved it. I think he has great potential. He reminds me of Adrian Silva when he was younger. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I think this kid, I really hope our new coach, Kaiser, gives him a chance. He looks like, coming from Ajax, he will play the youth. So we shall see. But he's much better than Petrovic, much better than Mizik. He's actually better than Wendell in certain aspects, just because he knows the reality of our club. He understands the philosophy and what Sporting is all about. So, yeah, I liked it. I loved his performance. Am I expecting him to evolve more? For sure. Yes, he has a lot of room for progression. And he will show that to us once he feels more comfortable. I mean, the last game against Chaves was his second game, and he played better. I could see some his vision, passing the ball to the Ustremo. So I think he did well for his first game, and I couldn't expect more than that. So I'm very excited about this kid. Very excited.
Yeah, me too. And so Nando, speaking of European debuts, Thiago Fernandes, what did you think of his European debut?
Well, I think he did what he needed to do, and just like Steph just mentioned, he didn't overcomplicate. And I'll go as far as saying that his whole tenure at Sporting, if summarized in a word, would be in a phrase, he just didn't complicate things. And one of the biggest issues with Peseiro, and a long list of issues, was that he constantly complicated things that did not need to be complicated. If Sporting had a great game one game, Peseiro would go and change everything the next game. If Sporting had a couple players that were playing well and in form, he'd go ahead and bench them or take them off early or do something crazy like that. And Thiago Fernandes didn't do that. I mean, I'm looking at the lineups from Santa Clara, Chaves, and Arsenal, or Santa Clara, Arsenal, and Chaves, and very small changes, especially between Arsenal and Chaves. And the only changes that you can see are changes that are logical, meaning with Arsenal, Sporting was much more defensive, and with Chaves, Sporting was much more offensive. And it was just slight changes. So I think that he had a very good European debut. I think that he might. I'm not quite sure if he has a lot of potential as a coach or not. It's way too early to tell. But what I can say is that given the circumstances that he took over, in which he took over, given the circumstances that Sporting found themselves in, and the fact that we're still in the race, all right, we're 2 points back in the season that in which we have yet to have a coach.
Right.
That's without disrespecting him. I think that showed a lot. It showed a lot of poise. It showed a lot of character, and it showed a lot of belief in the players. And I think the players, in turn, did well because he had all the opportunities to screw up or try to do too much, and he didn't. He kept it simple, and Sporting had good results.
Yeah, and quickly just to ask you just off of that, and I'll ask Steph as well, because there has been a lot of chat on Twitter. Do you think we played too defensive? And given that Arsenal had a really rotated side and maybe even a poor side, do you think we gave them too much respect by playing defensive, or do you think that like with a team like Arsenal, it doesn't matter who they put out, that we did what we should have done and what we had to do?
I don't think it's hard to say because part of me thinks that we played too defensive. I was one of the guys who said that I thought we played too defensive when we played at home against them.
Yeah.
And then we played even more defensive away, although it's understandable to play as defensive as we did away because we played away. I mean, it is what it is. That's just normal behavior. But Sporting is still a very fragile entity this year. So it makes – I get the impression – and that's why I'm a little anxious to see what the new coach brings to the table. Sporting has yet to let loose. Sporting has yet to just go be them. We have yet to find an identity, and we have yet to put all these pieces together. Okay, we've had good halves. We've had overall okay games. But we have yet to have a string of great games. We have yet to have a string of great performances. And that's totally fine, given the fact that we're still only 2 points back overall of the league. In terms of that game, we played a little too defensive, in my opinion, given the fact that Arsenal didn't play all that well. I still think that Arsenal played better at Sporting than they even did at home. So I think that would have been the difference if we had a coach that was already seasoned or experienced or even a top-level coach. I think Sporting would have that coach would have picked up on the fact that Arsenal wasn't playing that well, and maybe we would have gone for a better result away. So in that aspect, I think, yes, we were a little too defensive. But in the overall, like going in, I think all Sportingistas would have said, hey, man, if we can get out of there with a tie, we're all going to high-five and be happy.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And Steph, what about you? Do you think we played too defensive? Do you wish that you seen more attacking prowess, or are you satisfied with the performance that went in?
I mean, okay. Let's look at things the way they happened. Cruzeiro lost against Turil 2-1. He was fired. All of a sudden, you have a young coach, Thiago Fernandes, which I think he'll be very successful. He reminds me of Abel Ferreira de Braga. I hope you don't make the same mistake and let him go just like that. Give him a good job. Give him an assistant coach. Give him the sub-23. But give him a job at Sporting. Don't let him go. Because I could see that this kid is the way he spoke on camera, the way he earned the trust of the players was phenomenal. I liked it. But back to the game. We played very defensively because we had a new coach. We lost our head coach. So what do we expect? I was afraid that we would have lost maybe 3 or 4-0, and then we ended up tying the game, which was great. But his approach was totally 100% correct. We played on a 4-2, 4-2 with one striker, I believe, Montero, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it was like a 4-2-3-1, let's say, com dois trincos. And to me, that was the right approach. We played extra defensively, yes. Arsenal played with a lot of changes, but they were playing at home. And they play a vertical football very offensively all the time, don't matter who's on the pitch. I mean, their striker got hurt, and Hugo came in, another great striker, you know?
Yeah.
So their B team is like their A team, really. They have really good options. Um, but maybe if we had the same coach from the get go, a good coach from the preseason up to this point, maybe we could have played a little bit more offensively, but we just couldn't connect. We had chances to counterattack, but we just couldn't connect. Nani and Montero wouldn't connect at all. Um, and I think that was the. And then we didn't have Rafinha, which is he's been playing phenomenal. He was still hurt. Now he's fine, thank goodness. But overall, I think we played to our limitations because we were very limited. But we got the 1 point, which is impeccable. It puts us 4 points ahead of Karambag and Veltok, or whatever the other team's name is.
Yeah.
I
don't fucking know either.
I know it's from Ukraine, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're in a great position. We just need to tie the next game, and we're good to go to the 16 rounds. So no, we did fine. I mean, let's not forget, and I'll repeat it again. We didn't have a head coach. We tínhamos treinador interino. That's it. Yeah. So he did great. Tiago Fernandes did great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna lie. I was one of the people on Twitter also complaining that we didn't attack enough. But in hindsight, I realized that Montero didn't have a great game as well. That didn't help. And then also like Steph just mentioned, no Rafinha. Also missing Battaglia, who plays a decent role in this team. It's tough to counterattack missing some important players, especially Rafinha, who was lights out earlier on in the season. So credit to Tiago Fernandes for setting up that way and for having the courage, because definitely he was aware that you'd probably have some backlash on this on setting up so defensively. Anyways, if however you were a manager, would you change anything in this game? Nando, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I mean, if I was manager, I would have, at some point in that game, probably in the last, I wouldn't even say the last 10, 15, because, that's a part of the game where the home team, especially the caliber of Arsenal, are going to attack a lot more. But I would have certainly, maybe in that early portion of the second half or late portion of the first half, I would have tried to be a little more offensive, a little more daring, to see how far we could have pushed that result. Because I've seen Sporting do it before in other games and other times. I think we have a lot of good individual talent, and obviously I continue to believe that we have yet to find an identity, but we have the creativity that is going to allow these players to do things. And I think that if the coach had been a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more willing to leave Arsenal with a loss, but at the same time a good possibility for a win, I think that would have allowed the creativity of some of our players to come through, because we all can admit that in any given day, especially game, all we need is a player with the talent like we have of Nani's and even Diaby's with his speed and things like that. We just need one moment. We just need one opportunity, one chance to put a goal in and have a play that can decide the game. And that's what was lacking in that game. But I'm glad that I'm talking about it from the perspective that we tied and not from the perspective that we had lost. So at the end of the day, a tie was good. But I would have still tried to push for a little bit more, a little bit something else. And I think that's what was missing. And I think that just falls on the fact that the coach, he's young, he what can we say about him? We can't really sit here and critique him and criticize him and complain about him because we just don't have enough games to do that for the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Steph, same with you. If you were manager, what would you change maybe to possibly push us for a win?
I think maybe the subs a little bit earlier, like Diaby. I would have put Jovan Cabral a little bit earlier for fresh legs. But when you look at the bench, I mean, that was not really a game for Bas Dost, even though he did come in. Because Montero, to his defense, he was playing more defense than offense. He dropped back to the midfield, and he wasn't really focusing on potentially scoring the goal. Him and Diaby, they don't really click yet. Eventually they will. And then Nani, was more preoccupied in holding the ball than passing the ball really fast for counterattack. That's where we lost that component. Vertically, we didn't have any offensive game. I didn't see every time we attempted it, the Arsenal defense was on top of us. They always anticipated every move we tried to make it on a counterattack mode. So, seriously speaking, I don't think we could have done much better than that, especially when you lost your head coach. It always affects the players. And then I think the players gave it all for Tiago Fernandes. I think the whole point for them was to prove that we are with the coach, with our assistant coach, which became the coach for that game, of course. And everyone did phenomenal. And you know what? Sometimes we have to play like that. It fucking sucks for the fans. But Arsenal is playing great football in the Premier League in England. They're not a shitty team. They're a top-notch team. Even though people estavam a jogar com a equipa B. Equipa B é o caralho. Their players, the ones who call the equipa B, they can play in any day, any time, in any team in Portugal. So the time was great, and we played really good, and maybe Giovanni should have come in a little bit earlier, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. And truthfully, if it was me, the only thing I would change maybe was Bastos starting to maybe pump some crosses in. But I mean, I get the Montero one because we need that speed at the front. So before we move on to the next game, quickly score out of 10 for the team, and then also for the manager out of 10. Steph, I'll quickly give it to you.
Okay, so the overall performance for the team, I'm going to give them an 8.5. And Tiago Fernandes, I'm going to give him a 10. That just because you gave me only a scale 1 to 10, because if it was 1 to 20, I would give him a 20. Yeah, I couldn't expect more from the young man, which put a good plan together, and the players respected his ideas, and we got the 1 point that we needed so much.
Yeah, agreed. And quickly, Nando, you as well. Score out of 10 for the team and manager. Nando?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I was talking to myself. I didn't realize I had it muted. I'm gonna give the team an 8. I'm gonna give the manager a 9. Pretty much the same as what Steph just said. I mean, the team performed well, got a point. That's the main objective. So objective cumprido. And then for the coach, he was perfect. The only thing I can just wish a little bit more of would have just to see a tad bit more a courage. Maybe that would have been exciting to see from a young new that nobody knows anything about, to just see him show a little bit and see where his ideas lied. But that's nitpicking. That's so minuscule. So overall, 9 out of 10. And I'll even go as far as saying a 9 out of 10 overall in his performance at Sporting, if not a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and we'll towards the end of the podcast, we'll talk more and more about Tiago Fernandes. And then quickly before we move on as well, just the last thing is just after our Taça Portugal game, we're gonna fly out to Azerbaijan, to Baku, to face Karabag, a city mainly known for Formula One, but for that weekend, I believe, or that Thursday, November 29th, it'll be known for Sporting versus Karabag. Quick prediction on what the score is going to be like. Nando?
I'm going to say Sporting 1-1. It's just it's a tough. It's a long flight. Yeah. It's tough, and I don't know how Sporting is going to be reacting to the new coach yet. Given the fact that before that we're going to be playing the Taça Portugal game, so it's not like. I highly doubt Sporting is going to be approaching, especially that new coach, that does a Portugal game, with a lineup or a team that he envisions is going to be approaching a Europa League match. You know what I mean? So I think a tie. I think a tie is reasonable, especially how far it is and all that stuff, and them needing to win.
Yeah, Steph, how about you, man?
I think we'll go and win. I'm going to give it 3-1 for Sporting. Our team is getting better and better. Um, we had to overcome some obstacles, but I can feel that the teammates that they know each other better. The chemistry is gelling, and I like Miguel Luis. I think Miguel Luis with Goodell, they actually click. So, and like Nando said, we do have a new coach. So let's see what kind of system we will use, and this will make a difference. But which game is it first? Is it Taça de Portugal or Liga Europa?
It's Taça Portugal. It's against Lusitanios, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lusitanios. Lusitania.
exactly. Exactly. So let's see how we perform with that game, and then we'll have a somewhat a new idea of what to expect, which I'm very anxious actually. But I think we still win 3-1.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I'm gonna go with I, I'm pr- I'm undecided between the tie and the win as well. I'll go with the 1-0 win. I'll stay a bit more optimistic. No Mathieu, of course, because he did get a red card against Arsenal, but André Pinto's done a fairly decent job up until now. Really only having that one bad game against Estoril, so it's going to be exciting to see how these players bleed in this new system. But of course, it's not without some issues because now that it's international break, it's going to be a bit tougher for Kaiser to work with some of the people like Bruno Fernandes. He won't work with that much, or Cunha or Coates because of international break. But yeah, I'll go with the. I'll remain somewhat optimistic, but I wouldn't be too surprised on a draw, and honestly, I wouldn't even be too mad at a draw. Anyways, let's go on to the game this weekend. It happened yesterday against Chaves. Starting 11 for Sporting was Renan Ribeiro in net. Marcos Acunha, Mathieu Coates, and Bruno Gaspar back on defense. We had Miguel Luis and Goudelli and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, with Nani and Jovan Cabral on the wings, and Bas Dost up front. Quickly, Steph, what did you think of this game?
I think we started quite well. I was expecting Sporting to come in and take control of the game, which we did. But then it's very typical that we score a goal and all of a sudden, it's like we give control back to Shops. I don't get that. It's upsetting. We don't know how to contain the ball, control the ball, have the ball, and control the whole game. And don't get me wrong, that goal by Chaves was phenomenal.
Yeah,
They only
Blas.
score goals like that against our Sporting. So that's
Yeah.
every time a team goes to Alvalade, they always score these beautiful goals. Phenomenal goals, top 10 goals of the league. But you could see that the team is getting better. They're progressing. I like the again. Miguel Luis was much better. He felt more comfortable, maybe because he was playing at home. It wasn't a game against a top-notch team like Arsenal. The midfield played better, but I'm expecting more consistency. And they played good for certain periods of the game, and then they missed some important um, cuts. Cuts na bola. It was like, oh my god, like certain plays could have been dangerous plays from shots could have been avoided, and then we just couldn't clear the ball. It was like I felt like going inside the game and make those chances myself. But other than that, I think Bas Dost is in full form again. It was actually a good decision by the coaching staff, the medical staff, to make sure he was 100% healthy, not rushing his return. Because look at this now, the guy he comes into the pitch, he scored 2 goals. He's very important to our club. So overall, I like the defense. We played well, but some players we could have done better. The midfield much better, um, and then the Carlos Acuna crossing the ball is lethal. But I'm
Yeah,
expecting more from the other side from Cabral. Cabral has to have those crosses as well. Sometimes I think our fullbacks they just cross for crossing. Acuna, no, he means it. You could see they all lethal, and that's the only thing I want the extremes to Sporting and the fullbacks to work on. It's the crosses. Mean it. Cross it to Bas Dost. If you cross it to Bas Dost, as we can see, he will score. Um, 8 out of 10, he will score. But if you don't cross him the ball, the guy is not gonna be able to score. So overall, I like the performance. I just didn't like that we can hold the game. We can just kill the game, and then we gave Chaves even with 10 players. Chaves was very dangerous. We let them play. Why? When we can, just burn time and control the game like Porto does better than we do. They actually at a better level in that aspect of if you we're gonna have a lot of games that we're just gonna be winning by 1-0 or 2-1, and then be it. That's fine. But then know how to keep the ball, contain the ball, and control the game, and not lose it so fast. That's the only negative thing I saw about Sporting.
Yeah, and Nando, how about you? What did you think of the game?
Man, he nailed it. He nailed it right there. Os nervos, bro. Os nervos de sempre que aparece, Sporting is got a good result going, and then they're playing a man up, and you're sitting here instead of feeling much more confident, instead of feeling like, oh snap, here we go, now we're gonna like win 3-0 or go on a rajada. It's like, of course they scored a great goal, of course Sporting is struggling, and of course we're biting our nails again, and it's all the time. And in my perspective, that has nothing to do with the coach. That has to do with the lack of a coach. This the preseason. There's the pré-época. We haven't had a coach all year. Again, no disrespect to Thiago, but we haven't had a coach all year. So the team is fragile, both mentally and emotionally. And when things don't go great or Sporting's not dominating and scoring, then they start to struggle. And that's the biggest issue for me with that game. It was a perfect example of it. And it also showed against, what was it, the last game against Santa Clara. I mean, the same kind of mentality. Great thing is, despite all of that, we won. We have been winning. So hopefully that's something that these players can feel proud about. But for that game, overall, for the most part, we did really well. But there's certain players like Bruno Gaspar is kind of pissing me off. Something that I don't know, it's just not clicking. Like, he's been given opportunities, but I feel like he's not making the most of them. On the other hand, Acuna, I think he's completely just owning that left back position. And the fact that against Chaves, he was even playing a little further up because we had Lumorin. But that whole flank is his. Like, in my opinion, he's completely said, you know what? You guys get on my back and I'm going to carry down that left part of the field. It's just I don't know, man. I think that just the mentality aspect of it is a big issue right now. Sporting hopefully changes that with the new coach. But for that game, they could have put Chaves away much sooner. They didn't. They let him stick around, and then we were biting our nails. And with that being said, I don't think that should have been a penalty call for us. So I think we lucked out a little right there. I'm sure we'll disagree between all three of us on whether or not that was the right call. Personally, I don't think that was the right call. But hey, we got the win.
Yeah, and we'll actually get into that in a second. If you guys actually want to watch the highlights of the first goal of our penalty, obviously goal as well, and then the red card, I'm going to be asking you guys that in a minute. But while you do that, let me just quickly share my thoughts as well. I thought it was a much better performance offensively compared to the Arsenal game, though it did take us a bit to get started. It took us about 10 minutes to finally really get into the game, and then after that we started really pushing for it and going for it. I thought Jovan in the first half was pretty good. He was decent. He was getting into the right areas, but again, like Steph said earlier, I think his crosses and his final ball is lacking a bit. Though, if I'm not mistaken, who was the one that crossed it in? Oh, it was Acuna. Never mind. But yeah, so I think Jovan is a promising talent and a really good talent. I think he's probably been better off coming from the bench than starting. Maybe because he's going at tired legs and his speed and ability on the ball can really get past fullbacks. But I didn't necessarily think he had a bad game, but definitely think that there's a lot of improvements that need to be made with Jovan. But credit to him. I thought he played much better than what Diaby's played for the most part. I think Diaby's really only had one good game. But yeah, we gelled better. We played the ball better. We passed it around. I don't know if this is already Kaiser telling Tiago Fernandes like something of his philosophy, or maybe this is Tiago Fernandes maybe taking onus on himself and start giving the ideas to some of the players of what Kaiser's more like, because we were definitely holding possession much better than we ever had against Peseiro, especially that first half, and then even the second half. The only real chance I can remember Chaves having was that Golasso, and I can't really blame Renan for that. It was one heck of a goal. But again, it is annoying and it is frustrating that it seems like time and time again, Sporting, if it's 1-0, it's just not comfortable because we can't hold possession. When we move forward, we lack the final balls, we lack those final passes, or we just simply can't finish. Credit to Chaves keeper Ricardo. He had maybe two to three good saves. I remember one coming in the first half from Jovan, who tries to shoot it across the face of the goal, but Ricardo gets a good arm to it. So credit to Ricardo. He's a really good goalie, especially good for a mid-table side. I know Chaves are struggling this season, but they're definitely a mid-table side, a side that gave a lot of problems to Porto in the Taça da Liga, though they did lose the first game 5-0. And then let's not forget they also took points away from our rivals Benfica, tying 2-2 in a game, in an amazing game from Chaves, to be honest. And I think Chaves are a sleeping giant as of now, but I think later on in the season, and I hope as well, because they are a really good team that practices really good football, I hope that they can find themselves up, at least in mid-table. I don't expect, especially with their start, to be in European spots, but at least mid-table from Chaves. And it was a good game. But like I said, it wasn't a game without controversies. So first, from the first goal, there's some claims that Bas Dost pushes the defender off of him. Steph, I'll go to you. What did you think? Do you think that first goal is clean? Do you think rivals are just trying to find any excuse to throw off Sporting, or do you actually think maybe there was a foul on that first goal?
Who complained about the first goal?
I don't know. There was some mumbles on Twitter that the first, and even on some of the programas on television that my dad likes watching, I've seen people complaining about the first goal, that there's a shove, but on Bas Dost pushing the defender. I don't see much of it. I see them both kind of hassling there, but I don't know. What did you think? Maybe you think differently.
Well, first of all, no one from Chaves complained. No. Not even one soul. That's first of all. Second of all, the newspapers, no one complained about the first goal. Not even one newspaper. And then third, but not least, when you're home, sitting on your couch on one of those shows, and you're a commentator from one of the other teams, not from Sporting, you have all the time in the world with a microscope to analyze every single bullshit detail and come up with fucking excuses. So, with that said, whoever came up with this ridiculous idea, we're just wasting our time. It was a clean goal, of course.
Fair enough, and I agree. Nando, to you, I know you said you couldn't watch the game because there were some troubles on the stream, but I don't know if you've seen maybe their offside goal. What did you think of that? Rightfully called offside, or a bit harsh?
I think it was rightfully called outside. What did they go? They went and used the VAR, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So what it is they have a line on the back of, I think it's Bruno Fernandes' foot. And the player, though he does seem a bit up, like a bit past the line, it's also, people are saying that he's online and he's offside and he's onside.
Yeah, I'm actually looking right now again, and yeah, man, I think that's yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
because I'm looking at it right now, and I can see why he's on side. I can see why he's not on side. If we're going to go, let me put it this way. If we're going to go the route of, like FIFA has always said, which is you favor the attacking team in situations in which it's not a blatant, clear offside, then I think that Chaves should have gotten the goal. But the problem is, especially in the Portuguese league, we've seen and had years and years and years of this in which the attacking teams are never favored when the rules in FIFA state that they should be favored. So with that being said, I'm okay with it being disallowed, especially how close it is.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it now. I feel like the line isn't. I feel like it's going through his leg rather than on the back of his heel. So yeah, I agree. I think it's rightfully offside. I mean, if there was anything, VAR would have called it anyways. So Steph.
Well, hold on. I gotta jump in on that. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, the referee and the linesman did their job. They let the play finish.
Yeah.
The play finished. It was a goal at that point in time. Then the linesman and the referee, they have the same not microphone. How do you call that? No, na orelha.
Earpiece,
Whatever.
I guess.
Yeah, earpiece. Sounds good to me. I know there's another name, but it's not coming.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Yeah, the earpiece. The VAR calls, which they have fucking 20 different cameras in 20 different angles. They could see a lot more than we can from a newspaper or video from some schmuck from the stadium. And they said, no, it was offside. Even if it's by a toe, if the VAR is saying you did your job, you let the play finish, it was a golden point in time, the VAR called right away and he said, no, it was offside. We could see it from camera number 16 that it's offside. That's why it was offside. No questions, and no one made a big deal about that too.
Yeah, agreed. And Steph, quickly off to you. Another controversial moment was the red card on Chaves. What did you think of that? Was that a just sending off or an unjust sending off?
Well, when you see the play in the regular time, it looks like it's a red card because he goes mostra os pitons. Pois tem jeito. When you're a professional player, you know quando vais carrinho a mostrar os pitons, most likely you might get a red card. So why would you do such a thing? Why would you? And then, of course, when you see it on replay, you could see that he went for the ball. He had no intentions to hurt the player. But you're misleading the referee. The referee doesn't have slow motion on the spot at that very second. He only has the play itself at the normal speed. So o Tiago Martins, when he saw him fazer carrinho com os pitons, to him it's a red card in the normal speed of the play. When you see it on slow motion, you kind of say, wow, that was a little bit harsh. And that's my take on it. Mesmo o jogador dos Chaves, por ser jeito, jogador profissional, should know better. Por ser jeito. So, to me it was harsh, but I understand why Tiago Martins mostrou vermelho. Because in real speed, tu vês gajo de carrinho mostrar os pitons. E a regra é que quando mostras os pitons, levas vermelho direto. E quem não sabe, que leia no manual de instruções. Caralho.
I agree with you as well. But Nando, what about you? Do you think that was a just sending off, or?
I think that the way he went at the ball, dictated the end result. Because, like Steph said, you as a referee, how do you? There's just no way you can be perfectly positioned at every part of the game. So his reaction to the play is going to be, wow, like look how aggressive and very what's the word I'm looking for? Unpleasant tackle that was. Like it looked violent. It looked like he was just being lazy. And then, yeah, of course, you watch the replay and then you go, okay, wow, he actually got close to the ball. He went for the ball. I've seen much worse. But with that being said, hey, it's a just vermelho. It's well deserved given the fact that he did do what they tell you not to do, which is don't go with the cleat leading. Don't go with the spikes up. And he went with the spikes up.
Yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you guys too. I think maybe harsh a bit seeing the replays again, but I don't blame the referee for making that decision. I thought as well right after I seen that first replay, I thought that's brutal. Studs up. He's lucky he got most of the ball, but even still, studs up, and if he clips I forget the players, but if he clips his shin, bad things can happen. And to be more sincere, I think the referee fucked up, especially because literally seconds before, Nani gets a clear foul at the edge of the box and he does not call it. This could have all been avoided, these decision makings, blah, 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 if the right call had been made from the referee. You call that Nani foul right on the edge of not even the edge, it's basically a shorter corner, but right at the, near the corner where Nani is clearly fouled, pushed from behind. All of this is avoided, and then Xavi's player doesn't go studs up on the guy. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys, and I think most of Twitter agrees with us as well with studs up. The Bas Dost penalty, Nando. I know you spoke about it earlier, so speak about it again. What are your thoughts on the penalty, Nando?
Man, I gotta stop forgetting to mute because I have these full conversations. I'm gonna start recording myself on the side and then letting you guys add that later on, because I'm having the conversation solo. Okay, so I was actually watching the replay, and still am, and I'm gonna change my opinion on it. So at first, I think that's a little bit of a harsh call, given the fact that happens pretty much. What would you guys say, like countless times during a game, every game? Ball up, goalie tries to call it in the small box, and somebody gets held or somebody gets bumped or somebody gets pushed. And that's kind of how it looks. However, they did go to VAR for this one too, I believe.
Yeah, they did.
And I don't know how much of you guys have seen the replay, but there's a number 19 of Xavi's who is the closest one to the goalie. And all he does is look back to see where Bas Dost is, and then he kind of backs into him. Like you can see him sticking out his butt, which is who Bas Dost ends up running into when the ref calls the penalty kick. So if you guys look at that, at the end of it, Bas Dost is being sandwiched by 11, 19, and then the goalie is the one that goes up for the ball. So in my opinion, that's a clear penalty kick once you watch it again. I mean, the guy's literally, I can take a screenshot, send it to you guys. He's in between two dudes. He's trying to jump, and he can't quite jump all the way up. And number 19 on Xavi's does nothing to try to play him man on man. All he simply does is keep him from being able to get to that ball. And then when you do something as blatant as that, then that has to be a penalty.
Yeah, I agree, actually. And Steph, what about you? Do you think that's a penalty or unjustly called?
Of course it's a penalty. Okay. What are Portuguese known for?
Complaining.
Right? Hard-headed.
Yeah.
Hard-headed Portuguese. We might say something like this. Listen, I have two kids. My son's name is Samuel. Samuel, não faças isso. And he does it. What happened? Pá! Leva logo cachaço. É ou não é? That's our mentality in Portuguese. What happened before the play? The referee, Tiago Martins, avisou. Epá, não agarres o gajo. He spoke to him for a few seconds. Epá, não agarres o gajo. E o que é que faz? Agarrou o gajo, and then it's a penalty, and everyone is surprised. I'm not surprised. That's my culture. I understand. Está a fazer pouco do homem. He said it. Don't grab him. Please, do me even stop the corner kick. Acuna was about to cross the ball, and he stopped him. Do me a favor, don't grab the guy. E ele faz pouco do gajo e agarra o gajo. If somebody should be upset, they should be upset at the defender, the Xavi's defender. Everyone should be upset about him because he did actually what the referee asked him not to do. And everyone is surprised. Then they're not Portuguese. If you're surprised, não és português. Porque nós somos teimosos. Quando a gente diz não faças e fazes, a gente vai te foder. You got a PK. Pronto. That's my take on it. É penalti porque o gajo, sabes, é burro que nem o caralho. Mais nada, é penalti.
Yeah, and I agree. Again, Same thing like you said. The referee warned them literally just before Acuna takes the corner. He warns them once. And then at the same time, Bastos clearly passes his man. He's well past him. And then you still see Stav's arm, I think his name is William, the guy who was grabbing Bastos. You still see his arm grabbing onto him. And then, yeah, again, like Nando was saying, there's two people impeding him from jumping. There was a lot of talk about including Daniel Ramos, Xavi's coach, including other rival fans. Of course, they're going to talk shit, but you hear them talking about if this is a penalty, then every corner in Portugal should be a penalty, blah, blah, blah. And that's just not the case because you can clearly see Williams' arm around Bastos, and then you clearly see the two other people still impeding him from jumping. If you impede a player from jumping or moving forward, that's a foul, that's a penalty. It's as clear as day. I don't understand the debate on this one, to be honest with you. For such a controversial game, I think for the most part, the referees made, for the most part, right decisions. And the only bad decisions he made may have fucked up Sporting. There was fouls at the edge of the box that weren't called for us. And then similar fouls to Xavi's that were. So, no, this is, to me, a clear penalty as well. Anyways, my last question to this game, it's sort of an arbitrary one, but there is always these conversations after games and post-match interviews about whether a team was just or unjust to win, or se mereceu a vitória or merecia empate no jogo, blah, blah, blah. Steph, Nando, quickly to you. Sporting, are we just winners in this game?
Oh, of course we're just winners. Absolutely just winners. And I'm gonna go as far as saying, like, I don't care that Sporting didn't light up the pitch with fantastic diagonal crosses and beautiful one-time passing and Guardiola style. No, screw that. At the end of the day, Sporting won. Sporting won well. Sporting had 17 shots. Xavi had 3. Sporting had 65% possession. Xavi had 35. Sporting had 5 shots on target. Xavi had 1. Xavi literally take away the golazo, fine, great, and take away the maybe it wasn't offsides, maybe it wasn't an offsides goal. Xavi did nothing else. So yeah, absolutely. Like the people who complain about whether it was just or not just are the people who either are Sportingistas who continue to look for reasons to hate on the team this year, but the majority are rivals who are pissed off that they've seen us surpass them with no coach so far this year.
Yeah, and there is a particular rival in this weekend. If we want to talk about unjustified reds, I want everybody to go really look at that Benfica Tondela game and really see an unjustified first red. But I don't want to get too much into that. Anyway, Steph, same question to you. It's pretty arbitrary, but it's always discussed after games. Sporting, are we just winners? Merecemos ganhar este jogo?
Yeah, without a doubt. We just need to do a better job in keeping the ball. We're going to have, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, we're going to have a lot of games that we're just winning by 1 goal, meaning that we need to know how to treat the ball, keep the ball, be in control of the game. If not, then if you suffer from your heart, just don't watch the final minutes of the game, because most likely you get a stroke. Because our Sporting is phenomenal with that shit,
Yeah.
And the same thing, like Nando said, our rivals têm cá uns colhões falar de Sporting quando ganharam com 9 jogadores. So they should zip it, because they went to Tondelas e ganharam todo cagados. The referee had to show 2 red cards. Especially in 1 red card, the guy supposedly pushed him for the 2nd yellow card. That was not even a dangerous play. So it's anyway. Look at your own backyard. Leave us alone. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, we deserve to win.
Yeah, and I agree. Lastly, to sort of talk about transfers before getting into Thiago Fernandes, Marcel Kaiser, our Twitter questions, and even recent news on Bruno Carvalho. A lot of talks about, not really rumors or anything, but more Sportingistas on Twitter and in other platforms. Really impressed with the crack From Shab, Stefan Eustaquiu or something like that. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name, Stefan, and you're listening to us. A lot of people wanting him in January. Shav's is number 8. I'll also, because I want to add it in really quick because I'm a piece of shit. He's also, just like me, Luso Canadiano. So, we make good talents out here in Canada. Nando, what did you think of number 8 of Shav, Stefan Eustaquiu? And do you think he has what it takes to play for Sporting, to wear the green and white?
Well, okay, so there's been tons of players who have had great games against any one of the big teams, and then suddenly the press likes to, transfer them over to a top 3 team, a Sporting of Porto Benfica. Like, did he have a great game? Yes, but I'm not gonna lie and sit here that like he's had a fantastic game after a fantastic game so far this season. I don't know because I haven't been watching Shavs like that. So did he have a great game against Sporting? Sure. Now, if he ends up having a great season, sort of like that guy from quem é o gajo do japonês, right? The Nakajima or whatever. Yeah. Like that guy, at least we saw that he had like a heck of a season, was having a good season, was possibly about to go to Porto and whatever. Like if you can put together, a stretch of great performances, then that gives you some credibility. But just because you had one great game against Sporting or Porto Benfica, whoever, in this case Sporting, I'm not going to sit here and suddenly say like, oh yeah, man, we need to go get him. And no, the guy shows talent, sure. But was that, because he's playing against Sporting, so it's out of convenience for him to make sure that he played his best game so far this year? I mean, logically, it would say yes to that.
Fair enough. And Steph, what about you? Stefan Eustaquiu. Do you think he should come to Sporting like many others think he should?
I mean, no doubt he seems to be a great player, but I agree with Nando on this one. I need to see more games, and he needs to be consistent, playing at the same level, or else it's going to be our 31st player being loaned. We have 30. So I'm not in. That's the downfall of Sporting is we have too many loan players, and I'm afraid that this guy would come in, and then he sees the reality of Sporting, which is way different than Chaves, and then he can perform. Because that's what happens a lot of times. They go to a bigger club like Sporting, and I'll include Porto and Benfica, of course, and even Braga now because Antonio Salvador is doing a great job in making Braga a stronger team. And then they get mesmerized because it's a different reality. A camisola pesa. So I don't think he's there yet for a big club. Let him stay Chaves. Let's see how he performs. And I'm pretty sure that one of the big 3 will get him.
Yeah, and I agree. Though I do think he's probably good enough and probably better than some of the options we have, like Mizic, for example. I do also agree that we should at least see him one more season in Chaves. He had a decent half season last year. He's doing well for them this year, but let's wait a bit, wait one more year. If he really does have a lights out season, then maybe pull the trigger on him come next summer. All right, and now to Tiago Fernandes, who in 3 games in charge got us 6 points, or 2 games for the league got us 6 points, and then 1 game in Europa League against an Arsenal got us 1 point, so that's 7 points in total. I understand that we're pretty excited about Kaiser, and keep that on the side. I'm gonna be asking you guys about what you think about Kaiser in a second, but there's a lot of talk about Tiago Fernandes, and maybe we should have kept him instead of going in for Kaiser because he was doing a good job. Nando, what do you think of Tiago Fernandes? Do you think maybe we could have given him a chance instead of wasting money on Kaiser? Or do you think we did a good job on that?
Okay, so that's that's an exciting question because I'm sure that's probably going to generate the most controversy among Sportingistas if it hasn't already. So do I think he should have gotten a chance over Kaiser? Probably yes, because who is Kaiser? What has Kaiser done? What in other words, what makes Kaiser be the pick of the Presidente that us Sportingistas as a whole can have the confidence in that is going to keep us where we are and then make that difference that's going to take us to the title. Now, I hope that at the end of the season, we can go back and say on November 12th, Fernando had no confidence whatsoever in the new coach. But it's not a pick that we can sit there and look at his resume. It's not a pick that we can sit there and say, all right, I can see where he's going with that. So if we're going to go with that guy who we don't have any kind of confidence, for the majority of us, I've read a lot of tweets about this. I've seen a lot of programas de televisão in the Portuguese channels about this. And I've read even tweets from opposing what was it? I saw this guy the other day tweet about it. Sportingista, esquece-me o nome, that lives in or lived in the Netherlands. But if we're going to go that route and we're going to substitute Thiago, then we need to go with a guy that's clear cut, without a doubt. You know what? His resume speaks for himself. Or you know what? Guys that we mentioned, all of us mentioned. Now, all of us threw out a pick or a coach that made more logical sense than Michel Kaiser. So since he went with Michel Kaiser, then I think that he should have just saved the money, let Thiago run the show for the whole season, save the money, and then maybe at the end of the year we're pleasantly surprised. Maybe we're not, because at this point, I hate saying it because we're only 2 points back, but this season has been so poorly executed. The preseason was a disaster. Everything that's happened around Sporting is just like month. There's some sort of turmoil with current direção or past direção or intermediary direções e comissões de gestões and blah, blah, blah. So with the coach, yes, I think that Thiago should have been given a chance with a different coach, a coach with a little bit more of a resume. Then no, I think that would have been logic to say, you know what, thank you for filling in. Thank you for doing the best that you could have done. And at the end of the day, you did exactly what we asked you to do. So I think that's a two-headed question, man. And it's tough because this coach, I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy, but I also can't sit here and applaud the guy. I can't sit here and say, like, guys, I am excited. This is exactly what I've been waiting for in Nosso Sporting. Like, this is the stuff right here, guys. Get ready. We're just going to go on a tear. I hope I can eat my words and that he proves me wrong, but I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it, but I don't think to be replaced by this guy, Sporting could have just kept him.
Fair play. And Steph, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think we should have kept Thiago Fernandes as well?
Well, I think we should keep Thiago Fernandes, but not as the head coach. No, you would be setting him up to fail. People, they all, including me, we all happy that he won 2 games in the Portuguese league. Mas atenção, no Santa Clara foi pai do caralho. Let's not be obsessed with hey, Thiago Fernandes agora é Jesus Cristo. No, you would, if he stayed today as a head coach, sooner or later he would lose. Would he be able to deal with the pressure? Would the players will be able to deal with the pressure? You see what I mean? It looks like he's going to be a great coach, but asking him on his first year back to Sporting, he wasn't at Sporting. O Thiago Fernandes veio agora, com o Peseiro. He's not. I think people, because in Portugal we do that a lot. We're looking at Real Madrid, Solaris. O Solaris, he's been Real Madrid for many years, so he knows the club inside out, upside down. So when he took the spot, now he's the head coach of Real Madrid. It was very natural for him to take the spot because he knows the players, he knows the club, he knows the system, he knows the employees, he knows the fans, he knows the culture. And he's from Argentina, but he's been there forever. Asking Thiago Fernandes to be the head coach of Sporting on his first year back, com Peseiro, it's asking him too much. He did great now because, you know what? It was 3 games. But in the long run, as soon as he would fall on his face, I don't think he would be able to recompose himself and the team. This coach, everyone says so many negative things, even before he's the head coach. It's unbelievable with my Sportingistas. We're so great in criticizing our own people. But this guy is a great coach. He did wonders. You know where? In Ajax. Ajax is what? One of the best teams, football teams in creating talents. One of the best academies. He was part of the Ajax mentality of that wonderful football that they play. I know the Dutch league is not one of the best ones. I understand that, but he knows how to deal with the youth. And it's the message from Varandas is clear. He wants to play the youth. He wants to play our players, and then that's what I think he's a good fit. He's a good fit because he has experience in that department with the youth. O Palmeiras, não sei mais que. O Mourinho tem Palmeiras do caralho e esse está só a levar no cu lá na Inglaterra. So, there it is. So, Palmeiras. We don't have the kind of money that you guys are asking for. Portuguese, they want a coach com Palmeiras. How much do you think they want? 5 million, 6 million a year? We don't have the kind of money, first of all. Second of all, this coach, when he left Ajax, one of his players died on the field. And then it prompted him to leave much earlier than he was supposed to. He was fighting for the title. Look into details before you speak your mind about a coach that you know very little about. I think he'll do well because he's gonna rely on our youth, and he's not only Varane is not only focusing on the A team, he's focusing on the whole academy. He wants this guy to revamp the whole academy with his philosophy, with his coaching staff. So he's there for that purpose as well, because we lost a little bit of that too. Most of the youth players now, they've had to go to other teams than Sporting. We need to stop that. We need to invite them back again. So, silly stuff like they didn't have a bus, transportação. No one would pick them up or drop them off at home late at night. So Varane is fixing that, and we need to give him a chance. Sportingistas have to stop dwelling on Bruno Carvalho. Bruno Carvalho is part of the past. Forget about him. Let's move on. We're stuck in the past, in the twilight zone. And this coach, I think he's going to do great, and let's give him some time. And I'm excited, and I'm very happy that we have a coach that has a backbone, a lot of experience. Palmeiras, para mim, it doesn't really make much of a difference, because o Sérgio Conceição não tinha Palmeiras por aí adiante, and he went to football com Porto, and now they're playing. They were champions last year. So, just to keep things into perspective. So I think Varandas did great in getting a great coach that's going to play with our youth. That's what we've been asking for. O Francisco Geraldo, if he was there, and I'm pretty sure he would use him. O Mateus Pereira. You know what I mean? So let's give him time. Let's give him time. Let's not be so short-fused.
Yeah, and I think that transition as well to Marcel Kaiser, and talking about him a bit more. But I'm going to agree with you on the aspect of Thiago Fernandes did a good job, and he did what was asked of him in as an interim role. But I hope he stays with the team as an adjunto, as an assistant coach to Kaiser, shows Kaiser some of the academy players that he should be looking out at. Because let's not forget, Thiago Fernandes was a part of the B team last year. He was helping coach them, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was their coach. And as much as we talk bad about, or as much as some of us like to talk bad about Kaiser and his bad time his time cut short really at Ajax, we seem to overpass what he did well at Ajax was when he was in their B team. He got them to second place with record goals and record goals conceded as well. He made that team of Delete, of Justin Kluivert, of David Neres, if I'm not mistaken, of Brazil, of Frankie de Jong, who's now linked with Manchester City. He made that youth team shine, and he's the reason why some of them made it to the Ajax senior team. So I think some of the criticism towards him, like Steph was saying, was being a bit harsh, and also some of the glorifying Thiago Fernandes. Listen, I'm all for a passionate manager as well, and I'm super happy that Thiago Fernandes, of course, son of Manuel Fernandes, a Sporting legend, came to us at this time and showed us and gave us the passion that we needed. I think that passion alone was what pushed us for these past 3 great results, is the passion that he probably showed on the bench. But in terms of tactical approaches, and I understand he had very little time to manage the team, but even still, he didn't really bring anything truly worthwhile that will make me say, hey, wait, hold up. Maybe let's not waste money on this guy. Maybe let's put our faith into Thiago Fernandes. He didn't necessarily bring that for me. And what Marcel Kaiser brings to me, in terms of potential for us, is of course he plays the youth, so somebody like Miguel Luis might get even more burn under Kaiser. I'm looking at guys like Daniel Bragança and even Bruno Page, who's been playing on right back, but who can definitely play in the midfield as well, who can maybe come in and take over Bataglia's spot. Though I like Goudelli, I don't know if Goudelli is a number 6. And though I think he's been doing well and growing, maybe a Bragança can come in and really do well in that position. But we'll see with Kaiser and what he does. He's also a manager who likes playing attacking football, who likes keeping possession, who likes looking within lines, and then when we lose the ball, tries to win it right away. After Peseiro, it's nice to have a manager that has an identity, that has an idea of how to play in the game. So I'm optimistic, but I'm also looking forward to seeing what Kaiser can do, because of course he does come with his cons. He comes from not a Saudi Arabia, from a United Arab Emirates team in that country, and he only came in second in that country. So and then of course, how will he break down teams like Tondela, like Boa Vista, like Moreirense? Teams typically of the small Portuguese teams that all they do is sit back, hold deep, 10 men behind the ball, and then that one counter-attacking play, and it fucks us up. Of course, I have my worries about that too, and I hope he'll know how to deal with that. But let's see, and I'm here to give him a shot and give him a chance, and I hope he does well. Nando, quick, what's your thoughts on Marcel Kaiser? I know you spoke a bit about him, but even more in depth, if you may.
So right now, the number one thing that's got me optimistic about him is his apparent success with the younger kids, right? So what you just talked about, resume-wise, it speaks for itself in terms of what he's done with that. So given the fact that Sporting is known for their academy, and given the fact that we have players that we've loaned out that we all agree should not have been loaned out, players that Thiago Martins has given an opportunity for, Thiago Fernandes, and now it makes sense in that regard. I was reading this pretty extensive tweet. I'm sure you guys saw it, or hopefully you saw it. Let's see if I can pull it up here from someone that has followed his career in the Netherlands and his style of play. And they say that multiple opinions are that he comes from a Cruyff school of soccer, a Guardiola style of soccer. Just the fact that he's very much I forget what term he used, but pretty much the idea behind his philosophy of playing is that if you lose the ball, you've got 5 seconds to get it back. If you don't get it back in 5 seconds, then you strategically foul and you force the opposing team to start again, which I like that idea. I see that happen all the time with Guardiola in Manchester City. Obviously, I'm not going to say he's a Guardiola, because if he was, then he wouldn't be coaching Sporting. He'd probably be coaching someone else. But the fact of the matter is, if he implements that kind of style, and if he implements that kind of like relentless pursuit of the ball, and just a constant our job is to get this ball back so that we dominate the game, then I think that that's going to take the Portuguese league by storm, because I have yet to see that happen at Porto. That's never happened at Benfica, not with Jesus or Luis, or with Vitória, I'm sorry. So that might really do something, especially like you were just mentioning, the teams in Portugal, the Tondelas and the Santa Claras and all these lower level teams that when they play against Sporting, they play with 10 men back. If we can come at him, if we can come at these teams with a constant assault of hey, the second you touch the ball, you better make it count, because if you don't, we're going to ruin your game plan, I think then he's going to have a lot of success at Sporting. My fear, though, is that message doesn't translate well to Sporting. My fear is that Sporting is a team of pressão right now. Every coach, one after the other, and hopefully he's not just one more coach after the other, is going to feel that pressure. Why? Because we haven't won the title in 16 years. Why? Because we're a team of turmoil. Why? Because we've invested in players and we have yet to see the results that we all want. And that's one thing and one thing only for this team is to be league champions. O Campeonato Português e mais nada. So until that happens and until we can get that monkey off our back and exercise the demons, every coach is going to run into that problem. That's why I'm from the perspective that getting a guy like I would have been totally okay with a guy like Ranieri or somebody who's shown success in teams that probably no one would have expected it, like Leicester City, and made it happen there, has made it happen with bigger clubs in which players can look up to and players can be maybe in a little bit of awe. That's my thought process on this whole signing. I didn't know who this guy was very much. I've done my research on him a little bit. And it's all going to come down to how does he handle the Portuguese media? How does he handle the style that is in Portugal, which is a very defensive-minded soccer for teams that, are scared to go face-to-face against the big clubs. And how does he handle the media, man? Because the media has absolutely destroyed Sporting for years now. Other than that, I wish him obviously the best of luck, and I hope that he's a champion with us, and we are just find our hidden gem. But I can't sit here and say that I feel optimistic, other than the fact that I feel optimistic that he will give opportunities to younger players to develop, to show their skill, talent, etc. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, I just stepped out for a sec.
No, you're good, man. You guys there?
Yeah, sorry about that. So, Steph, quickly, I know you already spoke about him as well, but if there's anything else you want to add about Marcel Kaiser before we move on to Twitter questions and, of course, the Bruno Carvalho situation.
No, nothing more. We've said enough. I think he'll do great. He's there to revamp not only the A team, but the whole entire academy. And I understand Varanda's idea. Varanda's idea is arrumar a casa.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing too. Let's not just focus on the A team. I know the title is not a reality this year. We in the fight. And if we win, it's going to be amazing. But every Sportingista knows that with the poor preseason and everything that happened because of the 15th of May, no one is expecting our Sporting to win the championship, even though, of course, deep inside, that's what we want. So I think this coach will do great. Give it some time to implement his philosophy, to get his coaching staff all together. He doesn't even have a coaching staff yet. They're still working on it. And the timing of thing was perfect because now it's the national team for the next 2 weeks. So Varandas was smart about that.
I'm just going to jump in and sorry to cut you off, bro. I'm just going to jump in and say that we all realistically know that we aren't expected to win the title. We know that, right? So we expected that. The problem is we're now sitting here November 12th. We're 2 points back of first place. We have yet to play them yet this year. We finished the season at their house. And this is a season full of turmoil and a season that no one, I'm without a doubt, no one could possibly have sat here and said, no dia 12 de novembro, we're going to be 2 points back and be on our second coach, like at the beginning of the season or before the season started, right? So my fear is that Varandas had an opportunity to be aggressive and get somebody more established and get somebody that, if anything, fill it up in the incentive department, give a guy who has a little bit of reputation, has had a little success, and say, look, your job is at all costs to be campeão. I don't care how many apertões de orelhas. I don't care how many egos get bruised. I don't care. Just get the job done you do it. I'll give you a big bonus at the end of the year. It happens a lot in American sports. It also happens a lot in the other European leagues, in football, soccer. And I think that he took the easy route of saying, okay, I'm going to save a little bit of money compared to another coach, and let's hope for the best, but let's prepare for the future. And I almost get the impression that he's going to be another transitional coach in respects to setting up the academy all over again, right? Because we can all agree that our academy has not been doing what our academy has done and what we expect our academy to do. I fear that he's going to set that up well. Then once those the next generation of Adrians and William Carvalhos and Nanis and so forth and so on get pumped through, then they'll go out and get a coach that's established and ready to take it to the next level. So with that being said, why not do it now when Benfica is looking as bad as Benfica has looked at any point with Rui Vitória? They're struggling. They're shaking. They're one bad loss away again from him probably being kicked out or being forced out of the club. The president and everything, we've already talked about that. Porto, sure, they've won 7 straight games, but they haven't been the Porto that Sergio Conceição expects them to be. So they're doing well now and they're hitting their stride a little bit. But come on, I mean, in my opinion, the league is as open as the league has ever been so far. No dia 2 de novembro, with Porto, Braga, Benfica, and Sporting all in the running. And sure, the timing was great. I agree with you 100%. The timing was great. You got the break now. We all agreed that Pizarro should have been fired the last international break that we had. But he wasn't. Now he was. So the timing is good now. But I think that he could have gone a little bit further, showed a little bit more ambition, and said, Sporting's 2 points back. We're in this. Until we're not in this, we're in this. And at any point, if Benfiquistas can sit here and 5 points back with an established coach, etc., and say that they're full confident that they can still pull this out, because I have in the past, I can't sit here and say that I can't expect a miracle of sorts. So that's my only reservation is that he could have shown a little bit more ambition. He chose not to, and he chose to play it safe and hope for kind of build for the future under the radar, if you will.
To me, I'm just going to finish it up really fast. To me, I think the choice of Frederic Varandas was a personal choice by him, by Viana, and the scouting department. They just didn't say, hey, you know what? Get ahead. Let's get some names. Let's mix them up. Let's play raffle. And let's pick this guy. Hey, well, say you wish no vai ser este. I don't think it was like that at all. I think they study it. They looked at his profile. They looked into him. And he's the president of Sporting Club Portugal. With his international, the Relações Internacionais, Viana, and the other coaching staff, they made the decision. We're going to go with this guy because we like his profile. We like what his style of play. And we like what he's done at Ajax. And I think that's what Frederic Varandas thought about, and he thought about this for a while. I don't think it was a last-minute thing. All the coaches that every Sportingista dream of, they would never come to Sporting unless they would say, okay, Ranieri, I'll come to Sporting, but you got to bring this player, this player, this player, this player, and this player ASAP. I'm not going to play with the players you have now. They would demand stuff. They would demand stuff which Sporting is not in the position of spending money like that. People forget that recently making a deal with the Wolves for Rui Patrício was a bad deal. Was it a bad deal? When we look at things now into perspective, was it a bad deal? To me, now it sounds like it was a good deal because we might lose all the other cases. I know the Bruno Carvalho, which we'll talk about it in a few minutes.
You can transition straight into it if you want. From
okay, that's fine. I know Bruno Carvalho hasn't been found guilty, or Mustafa. But you know what? When things linger like that, it's not good for Sporting Portugal. As ações, the stock market affects us. Our image affects us. So all that's going on, it's affecting us. All those people that renounced, that resigned with Sporting, now they feel more confident. So I say again, was Rui Patrício a bad deal with the Wolves? I don't think it was. Gelson Martins, if Athletic Madrid still wants to pay us 22 million, take it now before it's too late.
Like
Because
I don't think
people forget that all these lawyers, they don't work for free. We have to pay them, which they're very expensive as well. The more we linger with this stuff, the more bills we pay. Ele está a tentar fechar a torneira. So this coach coming to Sporting, he came to evolve our players, to develop our players. When people say, epá, por que não fui buscar o treinador com palmarés e não sei mais quê? Olha o Mourinho. He spent how much? 200 million no Manchester United? He's not even in first place. Look at Real Madrid. Now they're playing better finally. But with plantel tão caro. And they don't play that well. You know? I mean, my take on this is to have a great coach, they're going to ask for a lot of changes, a lot of demands. Olha, quer este jogador, este e aquele. E o Varandas is being realistic. I can't give you all these players that you're asking me. I don't have the money, first of all. Second of all, it's not the time to do it. You're going to have to wait until January, potentially.
I think he could have gone the route of what is it, a performance incentive contract. I think he could have.
To whom? Give me a name.
Opa, anybody that could have possibly, we could sit here like, I'm going to say Ranieri again for the simple fact that
I don't like him. Personally, I don't like him.
I'm not going to say that he
was caduco and ideias já ultrapassadas. That's me. There it is. Really. I'm glad he's not at my Sporting. I don't like him.
I completely get that. But if Claudio Ranieri can pull magic out of his fart in England for one season and get a team that has no business winning that league ever for any reason, then he can make Sporting players believe.
The Leicester team, qual é o orçamento deles? You had the number one goalkeeper of Denmark. You had the striker, Vardy.
But those players were already there. He didn't go out and get them.
That team that won the Champions, the Premier League was dismantled. They went to other clubs to get more money because they played so well that year. I don't disagree with you, but people need to look at the whole picture. O Sporting não tem dinheiro to get a coach that they want that will demand, I want this player, this player, this player. No good coach with a great name would go to Sporting just with those players. They wouldn't, and they didn't. Maybe Varandas tried, and everybody said no.
Fair enough. And let's just we all have our own opinions. We can be, talking about this for even more hours. Quickly, let's throw this a bit more to the Bruno Carvalho case. We are 120 something now, so try to keep it as short but as concise as possible because we also have stuff Twitter questions. Nando, what's going on with Bruno Carvalho, man?
So as quick as I can make this.
Yeah. It's not really quick at all.
Right, exactly. Sheida, too much escuro. It's too much convenience, too much I don't know what term to use here. So Sporting is doing well in the league, so agora de repente a GNR e a Polícia Judiciária Portuguesa, everybody just suddenly decides to do their job again really well. And suddenly on the day that Sporting plays Chaves, they go and they arrest Mustafa, whatever, at the Sporting Juveleu said. They go and they grab Bruno Carvalho at home. Suddenly, de repente, they have text messages or what was the quote that they pulled off that I see here in Record for Bruno Carvalho, que foi aquelas duas frases que eles disseram, os dois telefonemas que tramaram em quote Bruno Carvalho in regards to caiam em cima deles. Okay, so again, if he did this, if he ordered the attack, right? We've all agreed, get rid of the man, make sure he never says foot in Sporting again, make sure we never mention his name again, embarrass him, do whatever you need to do to him. However, a Justiça Portuguesa, that the Portuguese media has hated him from day one, not from just this year or past year. He has been on a mission to expose all the bullshit that Benfica does and continues to do. He's been on a mission to expose all the bullshit Portugal does and continues to do. That's not of interest público português, especially the Benfica side of things. The fact that Sporting is 2 points back, the fact that Sporting is ahead of Benfica, and the fact that Sporting has an important game to play against Chaves, and you're telling me that no domingo they had to go get him. They had to. Tinha que ser no domingo. Não podia ser na segunda. Tinha que ser no domingo. But they had to go get him on Sunday because the poor guy was ready to erase all of the proof and evidence that there was there, so that only he's then heard on Tuesday. That pisses me off. That's really, really suspicious. That's bullshit, in my opinion. So we have to find out what all comes of it, because anybody can take any kind of conversation and then snip out. We've done it for papers for school, put it in quotes, and then suddenly somebody said something that doesn't sound very good or sounds the way you want it to sound. So, quote unquote, that terá dito, caiam em cima deles. Wow, meu Deus do céu, o que aconteceu? Caiam em cima deles. Guys, go grab the AK-47s and let's rip them a new one. It's stupid. It's bullshit. It's exactly what the Portuguese media wanted. It's exactly what the Portuguese media is getting. It's exactly what Benfica needed. And it's exactly happening the time that it had to happen. Benfica's not doing well. This is starting to divert attentions back to Sporting, not from Benfica. Benfica's president is still in lençóis de merda, and back attentions go to Sporting again and Bruno Carvalho. So this is exactly what they want, exactly when they need it. To me, that's suspicious. To me, that's a little too
convenient.
Exactly. A cama foi feita just right. So again, I'm going to wait till everything is said and done. And I really, truly hope. So every Sportingese who knows me and has heard me say this before, and I'll say it again, if he did something, please punish him. Do what you need to do. However, if he didn't do it, do I have uma vontade enorme for him to come back 5 years from now and take over the presidency at Sporting? I do. I'm not going to lie. Because it's really fucking bullshit. For there to be news que o Bruno Carvalho adormeceu around 7:30 in the morning. Foda-se, como é que eu dormir às 7:30 da manhã? Devia estar acordado all the time. Nunca devia ter sequer dormido. And I'm still finding out what he had for breakfast. What did the Alcuchit, where they're holding him, what did they feed him? Foi pastel de bacalhau, or what was it? So until we find that out, until we figure out exactly what he ate, I can't sleep well at night. You must spot the closure that it needs, and it pisses me off.
Steph, let's hear your thoughts on the Bruno Carvalho case recently.
Okay, so I'm going to lump it in Bruno Carvalho, Mustafa, both of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So basically, number one, Bruno Carvalho is no longer the president of Sporting. Of course, this is linked still with Sporting because he used to be President Sporting. And potentially this could hurt Sporting in the long run if it's proven that he was the one that actually gave the order para cair em cima dos jogadores. If that's proven, then we'll for sure lose the cases against Paudense, o Ruben, and Gerson Martins still.
Yeah, Rafael Leão as well.
Rafael Leão. That's it. And that's all we have left. Mm-hmm. So if proven. So first of all, I would like to emphasize, Bruno Carvalho, which I supported him and voted for him, is no longer the president of Sporting. So we a step beyond Benfica, for example, and Porto, matter of fact, because they kept Pinto Costa, which I found him a corrupt president as well. So we at least said enough with Bruno Carvalho. He's no longer the president of Sporting. They could talk about cash ball and whatever. All those guys that potentially were involved in corruption, they are no longer employees of Sporting Club Portugal. And I'm very proud to say that because as a Sportingista, that's what I want. I don't want corrupt people in my club or potential corrupt people in my club. At least we have the integrity and we have the audacity to say, you know what? Maybe you are innocent, but it's better if you out of the club. So that I want to make clear because all the other clubs haven't done that. If anything, they applaud the corruption and they want the presidents, potential corrupt presidents. To me, they are because look at their personal lives. They want them to stay in their club. Now, Bruno Carvalho, as a cidadão português de Portugal, has to defend himself. Only him. Has nothing to do with Sporting. It's not Sporting defending him. Bruno Carvalho has his own lawyer. He's by himself. Him, his mom, his father, sisters, his lawyer. Now he has to defend his reputation, sua honra. He's on his own. It has nothing to do with Sporting. Whatever comes out of it could affect Sporting in the future, but as of now, Bruno Carvalho is not relying on Sporting. Sporting is not defending him. So if the media wants to brainwash people and confuse everything, unless you want to, but it's clear that he's no longer an employee of Sporting. So why the relation with Sporting, the link with Sporting, just because of the future. Because if he's found guilty, then we lose a bunch of money. That's the only relation to it. Besides that, what's going on with him in jail and all that, I wish him the best of luck. If he's not guilty, then his lawyer will have the evidence, will prove in the court of law that he's not guilty. And until proven guilty, he's still innocent. That's how it is in Portugal as well. But for them for Polícia Judiciária to arrest him on Sunday, it's because one of those 40 people that been in jail squeaked something, said something, the prompt for all this, or when they downloaded a computer or a cell phone, they found something. So then the Polícia Judiciária, just like you see in the movies, they had to go to magistral, juiz, and ask for a warrant for his arrest. And that takes time. And if they gave it to them on Sunday, that's why they went on Sunday, because the judge signed it. A Polícia Judiciária disse, já temos provas suficientes. It's not like we think it is. You have to have it. I'm in law enforcement, so I know a little bit of it. You need to have enough evidence before a judge issues you a warrant for his arrest. I could say, "Epa, o Danny Saldanha, I know he's smuggling this, and that, but can I prove it? No. Now I downloaded a computer, me and my colleagues. Now we have enough evidence. Now we go to present this in front of a judge, and the judge, most likely, he must have been at home. Tens provas suficientes? Yes. Olha, aqui está o download. Aqui está, tenho aqui as provas. And bang, he signed it. E a Polícia Judiciária foi naquele momento.
See, so I'm okay with that.
I don't think that's nothing to do with CMTV and sei mais que, because they came up with a lot of bullshit too. You know, the breakfast and sei mais que. It could be a question to polícia de higiene. A que hora é que você dá o pequeno almoço e o almoço? A gente dá às 7 e ao meio-dia. E não tem nada a ver com o Bruno Carvalho. And then they make up bullshit. E eles serviram o breakfast às 7 e ao meio-dia. Sem ter relação com o Bruno Carvalho. But they make up bullshit like that. You know what I mean? So, with all that said, I wish the best of luck to Bruno Carvalho, which has nothing to do with Sporting. Sporting is now paying 1 cent to defend him. He's paying his own lawyer. He's defending his honra as cidadão português. And it sucks to be in this position, but it has nothing to do with Sporting. Now, the conclusion of it might affect us, as I'm saying us as a Sportingista, financially, because then Upodense and all those players will be given money instead of earning money from them. So that's all I gotta say. Mustafa, when he's found with drugs, and that's a known fact, já tem cadastro. I'm not a big fan of clocks. I told you that. I'm not going to change my demeanor. I've told you that I don't think we need clocks. We don't have clocks nos Estados Unidos, and we function well. And I don't think we need clocks. Antes prefiro ir a estádio, como com a minha mulher, que é benfiquista, ver Sporting Benfica, que os meus filhos, um é benfiquista e outro é sportinguista, em paz e sossego, com medo. Acho que é uma ideia muito ultrapassada, muito tradicional portuguesa, and I don't think we need clocks. as pessoas iam se habituar e iam se ajustar. Claques é ultrapassado. I understand que vão lá com bombos e trompetes e não sei mais quê. But look at the Claques. What they were given. I don't know if you guys kept up with what's been released to the press. They were giving a lot of money. They were allowed to travel with the team in the same airplane on international games. They were giving equipamentos para venderem eles. Bilhetes para eles venderem. These guys basically, to them, that was a full-time job.
I agree with the fact that
o Mustafa não estava a conduzir Citroën.
No, by all means, I'm
duas portas e 4 cavalos. Ele tinha carro do caralho.
I think that there needs to be a complete overhaul. I don't think completely eradicating the Claques do anything, because what's going to happen is then you're going to run the risk of having grupo organizado de adeptos become.
That's what happens. The thing is, as Claques que têm os outros clubes, é isso mesmo. É isso mesmo. Os Chaves não têm uma claque legal. The vast majority of the clubs don't have a claque legal.
Claro, mas a maioria dos adeptos dessas equipas, I mean, no disrespect to them, but all of them are adeptos simpatizantes, and they all follow Porto, Sporting or Benfica as their primary club.
Okay, but the only thing I can say about the Claques being legal or registered are in situations like this. When this happens, Juveleio, quem faz parte desse Claques? E pimba, vocês sabem os nomes todos. Agora, se a mesma coisa acontece para o Benfica...
Então, lá, a gente temos legais. We were legal and we still have shitty fans in
I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just simply saying with legal Claques, when stupid shit does happen, because as much as good as Claques can bring you, I also see your side of the coin, Steph. I also agree. Claques make a hostile environment. Claques put fear into,
I agree with that completely. 100% I agree with that. I do. I really do. I think that if Sporting wanted to be ahead of the curve, I think if Sporting wanted to be a new look and a new future, then they would have a complete overhaul of who runs the Claques. Because I'm going to be 100% with you. I don't know Mustafa, but I sure don't think that I want to get along with Mustafa, and I sure don't think that him and I are going to be the type of guys that we're going to hang out with and go chill and have a good time without there probably being an inkling of some shit going down. And I don't say that because I want to be stereotypical in this, that, and the other. However, there has been in multiple cases with Porto, Sporting, and Benfica, drugs and stuff like that being an issue. We have the fear that os membros da Claques are just a bunch of like drug addicts or guys with tattoos that really don't have a full-time job and all they do is roubar and then go apoiar o clube. So if Sporting, and again, that doesn't mean they all do that or that any of them do that. But the fact of the matter is, if Sporting wants to be ahead of the curve, then we change, we overhaul, we eliminate the support we've given them, we eliminate the financial assistance.
We
start. I think we need to do more than eradicate the Claques.
I mean, you know how much they were given by Bruno Carvalho, and you know what? I understand why he gave him that sum of money, because it's expensive to run a Claque. I mean, there's expenses involved in it, but the support was like 152,000 euros. Plus, they would give X amount of tickets so they could sell themselves and make money out of it. They would give the old uniforms so they could sell it too and make money out of it. Plus the installations, transportation.
Yeah. I get that.
I'm a Sportingista, and I went to Sporting. I had to pay for my own ticket. I pay minhas cotas. I pay everything myself. Sporting doesn't pay anything for me. I mean, I got a discount, of course, when I went to buy my T-shirts, equipment, euros. I got a 10% desconto. Por ser sócio, não é?
Yeah.
Porreiro. But I have to pay for everything else.
Yeah.
Why member da... What's Mustafa full-time job? What's his full-time job?
No, I know. We don't know.
He doesn't have a full-time job.
Yeah.
If Sporting supports him, what the fuck? Why?
No, I agree.
I think we all agree that changes need to happen.
If you get rid of the Claques, say as Claques já não existe, you will have grupo ou dois ou três ou quatro organizado de adeptos who are going to continue to do the exact same thing to the ability that they can do it. They're
not because you would have to buy your own ticket. You would have to. Let's say the eight of us in our account, no Sporting 160EN. Let's say the eight of us, hey, can we meet in Portugal and watch the Sporting, the next game? Yeah, shit. You know what? I'll buy the tickets, guys. I'll go online and buy the tickets so we can sit all together. That's what they would have to do.
And they would do it.
Yeah. And they would do it, but they're not being given tickets. They have to coordinate and buy themselves.
But they would do it. It happens.
It's blocking a section for them. A curva sul para eles.
É o que eu digo. So get rid of the financial support. However, don't get rid of what Danny said, the legalities of having claques legais, because then you still have the ability to continue to monitor to the best of your ability. You have the ability to continue to enforce rules and regulations that otherwise is only left to interpretation.
Yeah. Steph, I think the only thing me and Nando are really saying here is that whether we like it or not, these clocks are going to exist regardless of whether Sporting acknowledges them or not.
No,
so you know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be like Benfica in a sense where it's not legal, and then if something does happen again, which I hope never happens, but something like this that did happen over the summer, we were able to get the names of what clock did this, the names, and those guys were in prison. Well, some of them were in prison 48 hours after the incident. So,
and I'm going to say this.
Okay, man, our clock was legal. Our clock was legal, and they beat our players. They were found with the knives and guns and drugs just now this Sunday, and our clock was legal. So the Benfica clock is illegal, and the same thing happens. So what's the difference? Being legal or illegal? It doesn't matter.
The difference is finding them faster.
No, it's not. Actually.
Because what I'm saying
because no-name boys também sabem exatamente quem são, or you don't think they know? They know exactly who they are. The only difference is the system in Portugal sucks because as claques organizadas or legais, it was supposed to be like this. Fernando, whatever is your last name, let's do a background check on him. Oh, he's got 2 felonies. Nah, you can be in the claque Sporting out. Go. Vai à pesca, vai dedicar à caça do pato. Agora, Denis Saldanha. Oh, he's clean. Yes. You can join the clock because you don't have no priors, felonies. You're good to go, buddy. Steph Teixeira, yeah, another piece of shit. He's got 3 felonies. Fuck you. Vai à pesca. That's the way it's supposed to be done. But
I agree with.
You look at the Juventude Leonina, and I have a good friend of mine, Manu Bruno, que foi lá ver o Porto no Super Dragões. Ele disse que teve medo lá no meio do Super Dragões. Não é só o Sporting, atenção. E os benfiquistas aqueles que falem a verdade também vão dizer assim, lá no Name Boys, you have to be careful, senão levas no focinho.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
These people, all they do, they live and breathe their club. Sporting, Benfica, Porto. But they're very dangerous. They're crazy in the fucking head. They shouldn't be part of the clocks or group organizados. It should be the opposite. If you're that crazy, you don't belong numa clock on group organizado.
And that's why one of the things that really pisses me off is that you watch the game against Chaves, okay? So I'm watching the before my stream stopped working, right at the beginning when the players are coming out, you talk all win, we talk o mundo sabe que blah blah blah. And you see the difference, and I hate saying that, but you truly see the difference between like what o ambiente e o fator casa and everything is sem as clocks and com as clocks. Met pena because I'm not part of the clock, but I'm singing and I'm chanting and I leave the stadiums with my throat sem voz. Not saying that everybody has to do the same thing. Everybody can love the way they want to love. However, the vast majority of those people vão estar caladinhos. O hino toca, quase ninguém canta. They need almost like encouragement. Epá, eu acho que eu devo cantar agora, não sei. Do I love Sporting or do I not love Sporting? Ok. Antigamente era o estádio todo com bandeiras no ar, todo mundo canta. Now it's suddenly, okay, I may or may not cantar. it's sad because you get to truly see who's there because they want to subiar, who's there because they want to love or whatever. So as clock, we know what good the clocks bring. We know more than ever what bad the clocks bring. So Sporting needs to be ahead of the curve.
We need to find a way to limit the bad.
Now's the time to lead the race in that. Se o Benfica não quer admitir que tem uma clock, we all know they have a clock. They have a name. No name boys. They have another one, actually. I forget what name they're called.
Diabo Vermelhos.
Exactly, os Diabos Vermelhos. So if they don't want to do that, fine. Eles que façam o que quiser. But Sporting can lead the race.
But they're not the only ones not wanting to do it. They're not the only ones. I'm not defending them at all, but it makes no difference. I mean, I came to the conclusion that being legal, o que é que significa uma claque está legal se a gente fez a merda que fez? Bateu nos jogadores e a nossa claque era legal. And then they were just found with drugs and guns, armas brancas, dentro da sede. What's the benefit of being legal? We broke a bunch of laws. E ele foi, o Mustafa, quando foi encontrado, estava todo pirado, meu. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference? What's the difference of having a legalized clock if we're not imposing the rules and regulations of the law, which is ele tem cadastro, não pode ser da Juventude Leonina. Não pode, tem cadastro. We don't want this kind of shit in my house. Except the Juventude Leonina, it's underneath the stadium. Am I correct?
Say that again.
Yeah, I have no idea.
As said, yeah, because I was just there the other day. As said, is Juventude Leonina as nas instalações do Sporting.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
Okay. So then, if eu sou presidente do Sporting, como o Varanda está a tentar fazer, I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to keep my clocks. I agree with you. I like to see as clocks também. Mas eu quero o significado de uma claque legal that has some meaning. If you say que a claque, para eu ter orgulho, para eu falar com um benfiquista assim, epá, a minha claque é legal. E depois um benfiquista vai dizer-me assim, a tua claque é legal e bater nos teus jogadores e foi encontrado agora com cocaína e com armas. Que legalidade é essa? E eu o quê? Eu agarro-me à pizza. Because the benfiquista is actually has a good point. So for me to say and be proud of it, to say a minha claque é legal, then we have to enforce the law. We have to say, hey, we have to do inspections ourselves, a nossa direção, our security of Sporting. We have to go to Juventude Leonina said and double check if they're complying with what we expect them to comply with, which is no drugs, okay, no people with felonies,
yeah,
you know, and then I'll be okay with that. I'm okay with clocks. Clocks sim. Eu gosto dos bombs e não sei mais que, and everyone singing at the same time. Yeah, é lindo.
É lindo quando funciona
uma
bem.
Coisa que não é fanático.
Yeah.
As clocks que a gente tem, they flirting with fanatismo e ultras. They flirting with that. I think they are anyway. They don't call themselves ultras, but I think they are. And we don't need that in sports. We don't need that in soccer. Eu sou sportinguista, but I'm capable of watching a soccer game com portista do meu lado esquerdo e benfiquista do lado direito. Yeah. I'm not going to fucking kill them because they belong to Benfica or Porto. If they win and o árbitro ajudou, olha, mando umas bocas e tal, mas we're going to be friends still.
Yeah.
I'm not... do you have benfiquistas in your family?
Of course. I think we all do.
Okay. And don't you love your family members?
Of course,
of course. There it is. Or portistas? Ok. O Mustafa, se calhar, também tem benfiquistas na família dele. Mas ele, como é maluco da cabeça, é capaz de não falar com eles. Mas eu falo com os meus familiares benfiquistas e portistas. Because I love them. It doesn't matter which club they like. You know, you're respectful to me, I'm going to be respectful to you. I get along with Cíntia, com o Fumaças, com o Richard Teixeira, com o Bruno Ferreira. They all benfiquistas e portistas. You know, that mentality has to go sideways, and we have to accept soccer the way it is. If corruption exists in the past, you know what? Whoever is caught, I hope they are charged with felonies and they really heavily penalized and they go to jail. Every single one of them. And I don't care if they're Sportingistas. If they were involved in corruption, vão para a puta que os pariu. Vão todos para a prisão.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say to finish with this.
And I think that's a perfect place to end that little heated debate. I love the conversation. Truthfully, I think we'll revisit this conversation soon enough after everything's said and done and set in stone. Quickly, we're gonna go over 2 Twitter questions we have before we wrap it up. We're pushing 2 hours now, but it's a good long one. I think everybody's gonna enjoy listening to it. The first question, I'll give it to you, Nando. It's from Kevin N. Arujo6 on Twitter. He asks, what's the verdict on Bruno Gaspar? Is Miguel Luis a starter or is it too soon? So first Bruno Gaspar, then I'll let Steph answer the Miguel Luis one.
So part of me, so I have asked for Bruno Gaspar to get a lot more opportunities, and he's been given them. I still can't tell if he's just not in physical form or if it's just that he's not very good in like a tactical sense. I think that his physical attributes, his body, his quickness and things like that is interesting for that position because he's almost built like he should be like a higher up midfielder, like a Bruno Fernandes position or whatever. In most cases, he's even stronger looking than like Bruno Fernandes and some of our other players. So for his position, it's interesting to see that kind of physical attributes playing that right back position. But there's so many instances that he just seems like he's not playing tactically smart, or he's not interpreting the message that the coach is giving him in both how he attacks and how he defends. So I don't know. It's been a few games now that he's getting opportunities to play. I'd say give him a full season and see what he gets. But right now it's not looking good given the fact that he cost Sporting like 5 million euros or close to it.
Yeah, something like that. I think our biggest issue with Bruno Gaspar is his inconsistency. He's had a few good games, but he also had a few bad ones, which has rubbed us the wrong way. And then, of course, he's not Ristovski at the end of the day, So, yeah, but I agree with you. I think let's give him to the end of the season until we decide, whether he's Sporting material or not. Steph, Miguel Luis, is he a starter or is it too soon?
Hey, he's been a starter for the last 2 games, and I think they should keep him as a starter. At least his final pass is much better than Petrovic. He has a better vision, and that's what we lack of. I mean, the first game he started against Arsenal, it's understandable why he was playing not to make mistakes. Estava certinho. I'll take that. Against Chaves, much better. And he only has more room to improve. The kid is only 19 years old, and he comes from our Sporting Academy. He knows our philosophy. He understands the club better than anybody. So I'm expecting great things from him. And I would keep him as a starter. Most definitely. The next game, it's Portugal.
Yeah.
So keep him 90 more minutes. And I'm expecting great things from this kid, but let's just take one step at a time. Tough as as coisas certinhas, and that's the way you should be doing it.
Yeah, I agree. And we have to, as Sporting issues, we have to be a bit patient with our youth products.
Yep.
And then the last question comes in from Lex_Portugal. I'll answer this really quickly. Do you think Kaiser should promote youth players like, he says Miguel Luis, but Miguel Luis is kind of already promoted, Thierry Correa and Elves Balde into the starting 11. I think Thierry Correa is important for this 11 right now, or at least for the rotation of the squad. I hope to see him for the Taça Portugal because he's a promising young right back, and with Ristovski out, more rotation would be needed. Elves Balde, I think he's maybe a year or 2 away from the Sporting starting 11. Or from the Sporting squad. He had a great game this weekend. He scored 3 goals, I believe, to give Sporting under 23 the win. But with Rafinha, with Nani, with Jovan, even Diaby has his moments, and Carlos Mené hopefully will come to his best. I think it's too soon for Elves Balde, but he does seem like a promising young player. Quickly, I'm going to go through some of the modalidades before we head out. Our football Praia team beat ADC Saltão de Nazaré 7-3 today with with 2 goals from Alan and 2 goals from Duarte. Among others, our goalball team were winners of the first stage of the Super European Goalball League in Rostock. So congratulations to them. Where's more? Our women's futsal team took revenge on the draw in the first game, and this time beat Quinta de Lombos 5-0 at our João Rocha. Goals from Deborah Queiroz, 2 goals from Deborah Queiroz, a goal from Deborah Lavorado, from Morgado, and from Jessica Cordeiro. The girls are currently in second with 19 points. There's a few more. Where is it? There is...
Okay, Patins 3-3 com Oliveiras.
Okay, Patins 3-3. Handball beat Fermotões 36-22. They're currently in second behind Porto. Our futsal team beat Futsal Asmej 9-2. 2 goals from Alex, 2 goals from Cavanato. Eric Mendoza scores 2 goals from Pedro Cari and 2 gols from Cardinal. So well done to them. You mentioned handball. Our
U19 won 5-0 against Setúbal.
Yep, our U19 won 5-0 against Setúbal. Our female B team beat Vidreiros 8-0 this weekend. Our volleyball team, I believe, also won
3-0.
3-0, yeah. And then, like I mentioned earlier, our under 23 team beat Estoril, I believe it was, this weekend. Who was it?
They won 3-2.
3-2 against, who was it? Do you know, Steph?
Yeah, I actually watched the game. It was contra Setúbal.
Setúbal, there you go. Yeah. And a good game with a hat trick from Elves Balde, like we mentioned.
Yeah. O voleibol ganhou 3-0 contra o Guimarães.
Yeah.
And then Juvenis ganharam 3-0. So, yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it was. Most of our teams winning. Also, table tennis. They won 4-0 as well. So it's looking good for the Modalidades. You know, Sporting, we're more than just a soccer team, as we like to mention on the show and on our Twitter account. And congratulations to all the Modalidades players that won this weekend. And yeah, all right. We are currently on probably our longest podcast. I think it's just hit 2 hours. Any last comments before we take off, boys?
This was exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
I had a good time too, and best of luck to Mr. Kaiser.
Absolutely.
I love my Sporting.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, we all love Sporting. Probably more than we love probably our own family members and things like that. So yeah, man, at the end of the day, it's all about Sporting, the better of Sporting. Not one single person is above Sporting at any point ever.
But I am Sportingista, and I'll never switch like some people.
Nah.
If you know what we mean.
Yeah, they could be assim Roma, Benfica, Porto, Sporting, or Fiorentina, whatever.
For that.
It would surprise me if they miss this kind of excitement that they can't get with another fan base, but that's their problem, their loss.
Exactly.
Well, the good thing is we got Nando out of it, so.
Yeah,
we did.
And what sucks is like when I came in, and I'm gonna keep this real short. When I came in, I was like thinking to myself, "Shit, I can't be the only one here that knows this man's dark secrets."
Like, Danny, podes acabar com isso que a gente fala offline.
Pronto. Special shout out to guys in the chat like Michael Fonseca, Lauren Jenks, and Capado. You guys are great. Always great interacting with you guys. Everybody, don't forget to interact with us on Twitter and even on the next YouTube podcast. It was a pleasure. Can't wait to be on for the next podcast. And ciao. Next podcast in probably like 2 weeks, but we'll be placing Carabag and Lusitania for Taça Portugal. Força Sporting. Viva o Sporting Clube Portugal.